Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we're going to have a look at the latest on the few thunderstorms that there are in southern England. There is a yellow warning in force, we'll have a look at that in more detail in a minute, but we'll also have a look at the longer range outlook, and it's looking encouraging as we've been seeing over the last few days in the videos. We could be seeing a possible heat wave for the middle third of August, so do stay tuned to see how that does evolve. So anyway, do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you do like and subscribe, and do remember to follow me on Twitter as well, links in the description. If you haven't seen already, do check out my video that I'll link up just in the right hand corner that I released earlier, just the stats for July. Very interesting to see some insights for the whole country. Some things were a little bit of a surprise, so do check that out if you are interested. So if we do have a look at the live radar, you can see there are a few showers around, a few isolated cells still remain, but many of the cells that did develop earlier have now sort of decayed, and we just have a bit of light rain still remaining. It's been pretty cloudy around the south, and we did see some very, very intense rain across the Isle of Wight earlier this morning. I'll show you the 24-hour totals in a minute. But if we do run it back a few hours, all the way to 6 o'clock, you can see there were cells in around Gloucester, Bristol, all the way down to sort of Exeter area, a couple around Oxfordshire as well. So there were a few cells around this evening and afternoon, and I do suspect some areas did get quite a bit of rain in a short period of time. Wasn't too widespread, but again, still a few impacts from that. So you've already got to keep an eye on this, as the Met Office warning was issued this morning. So whenever you're doing anything over the next week or so, just really keep an eye on the Met Office warnings, and just keep an eye on what they do, as they can put warnings in at very short notice. So we do have a look at the rainfall total map. You can see how we have had those isolated cells across Oxfordshire, Bristol, Gloucester, down into Exeter and South Wales as well. And it has, of course, some heavy rain, maybe 20 millimetres or so in a few locations. You can see elsewhere there is some more persistent rain coming into Ireland at this stage, but it does look like it's going to decay as it heads eastwards. But then we had a really interesting story down on the east coast of the Isle of Wight. We've seen around 100 millimetres of rain fall where we saw a stationary thunderstorm this morning. Very significant conditions were seen there. I do hope anyone in the Isle of Wight right now, if you are watching this, I hope there wasn't too much damage. I've seen a few images of some flooded roads and stuff, and I really hope it wasn't too much, but just can show you the damage the stationary thunderstorm can do this time of year. I just hope we don't see too many more of those this summer. We've seen quite a few in the London area as well now in the Isle of Wight. So we do have a look at the weather warning. We'll briefly run through this as it does expire at 11 p.m. tonight, and you can see that 11 p.m. Heavy showers affecting south and east of the Isle of Wight will become more widespread across the warning area through the afternoon, with some thunderstorms also developing, quite slow moving and last for an hour or two. Torrential downpours. A few areas will see 50 millimetres, lightning and hail, also additional hazards. I don't suspect there'll be too much more lightning or any thunderstorm activity for the rest of this evening, as it does look by the looks of those radar that it is decaying now. But still got this warning in force, so do keep an eye out if you're doing anything this evening in this warning zone. So if we now have a look at the interesting part of the video, having a look at the GFS, we'll have a look at the GFS, the ECMWF, and then we'll have a look at both the GFS and the ECMWF Ensembles. I haven't looked at the ECMWF Ensembles since the winter, so it'll be interesting to look at how those are showing the potential heat wave we could be seeing in the middle of August. So if we do run through the GFS, I'll say already, I've run through this before the start of the video, and this is a cold outlier, this GFS run. It is showing cooler conditions all the way through to 384 hours, and I'll show you why it does come off like that. We do see the potential for a bit of a low pressure system developing on Wednesday. Could bring some more heavy rain, potentially in the southwest, but it will move away quite swiftly. And then by Thursday, we get another big low pressure system moving in. We thought this could potentially be a named storm, but at this stage I wouldn't suspect it will be. It doesn't look like it's deepening too much on the latest model runs. That does sweep through, will bring through heavy rain, and will sort of stay stagnant over Scotland and potentially spiral more heavy showers around. Beyond that, we maintain unsettled all the way through the weekend before we try and build some high pressure, but always low pressure, trying to swiftly come in off the Atlantic. As we head to day 10, this is where the other models start to build in high pressure. For the middle third of August, potentially bringing a heat wave. But you see the low pressure sort of gets stuck over the top of the UK. High pressure builds to it north towards Iceland. And you can see some warmer air goes up there. We're just stuck in some cooler air. And you can see there's quite hot air surrounding us. We're just in a cold pool with a bit of a cut-off low. And as we run all the way to 384 hours, you can see that high pressure that many of the other ensemble runs and operational runs have sitting over the top of the UK is to our west. So a bit of an outlier here from the GFS, but it does show you subtle changes in the pressure patterns can give very dramatic changes in the surface conditions. So we have to really keep an eye on that. So if we have a look at the ECMWF, which is a little bit more heatwave-like, you can see those low pressure systems move through. But as we head to the start of next week, you do see high pressure starting to push in. You do see a push of warmer air to the southeast. Low pressure does start to move in though, and again, it does look like that will be temporary before high pressure does build back in. So potentially a little bit of a blip there on the ECMWF, but you can see it's not a cut-off low at this stage. It is moving through quite swiftly, and you can see it there, and it is filling out. So it'll be interesting to see running that on a couple of days, but a little bit more encouraging than the GFS, which had it sat just over the UK. To be honest, it would be preferable if it was out further west for hotter and dry conditions, as it would encourage high pressure to build in the void across eastern United Kingdom up towards Scandinavia, then can pull up some dry and warm continental air. But also, if it does come from a more southwesterly direction, starts up from the Mediterranean, could bring some humid air, and then we could be seeing some further thunderstorms. So we'll really have to keep an eye on that. So if we do have a look at the GFS Ensembles for London, you can see over the next week or so, up until around the 10th of August, temperatures are going to be below average, going to be pretty chilly and with a lot of precipitation spikes. So we have those low pressures coming off the Atlantic, bringing frontal and convective rain. As we get to the 10th of August, you can see the precipitation signal is very diminished, and you can see there's a massive spike on the operational run, and you can see the operational run standing out quite a bit, well below average and well below the mean of all the ensemble members. So that's why I'm saying it's really an outlier that we should not discount at this stage, but it's not particularly reliable tonight, I'd say, that operational run. But it's looking very dry from the 10th of August onwards, and it's looking encouragingly hot. So you can see there are multiple ensemble members getting to around 12 or 14 degrees at 850 HPA, which would start to give temperatures in the mid to high 20s, especially further southwards. And you can see even the average and the mean of all the ensemble members is getting up towards 10, 11 degrees by the 13th, 14th of August, which would, of course, give temperatures in the mid-20s. And with dry conditions, sunshine, wouldn't be surprised if that built on each day. So we'll really have to keep an eye on how this does develop, but it's looking increasingly likely we're going to be seeing some anticyclonic and warmer conditions for the middle third of August. So for those hot and dry fans out there, this is looking more encouraging. It's not looking blisteringly hot at the moment, so I know there are some people who, of course, don't enjoy very hot conditions. So it's not looking blisteringly hot at this stage, but it's looking a little bit warmer than average and dry, which is probably the most important thing. If we do have a look at the 2-meter temperatures, you can see over the next week or so, temperatures are going to be struggling to around 20, 21 degrees, which can be pleasant for some, but if we are stuck under some cloud and a bit of rain, it can feel pretty chilly and pretty miserable out there. As we're to the 10th, 11th August, you can see the temperatures starting to edge up to around 23, 24 degrees for the ensemble mean, and then the odd ensemble members, the warmer ensemble members, getting up to around 27, 28, and I suspect a few could be churning out 30 degrees in the coming days. So we'll just have to keep an eye on what those upper air temperatures do, but it's looking encouraging for anticyclonic and warmer conditions. But again, not guaranteed, just looking a possibility, a decent possibility at this stage. So if we now have a look at the ECMWF Ensembles. Now, this does show it in a interesting sort of format. If you'd seen my winter videos, you would have seen this being used. Blue is low pressure, and orange is high pressure, and you can see NAO plus, so the North Atlantic Oscillation plus, which is giving westerly winds and sort of stormy conditions, NAO minus, which is bringing northern blocking and would bring stormy conditions to the south and wet and windy to the south, and would encourage cold air coming in from the north. And then we've got a Scandinavian high, which would be a red outline, and that is showing easterly winds. And then we do have blocking in the Atlantic, or mid-Atlantic ridge, which would be bringing in northerly winds as well. So it just really shows you what the general position of the high and low pressure is. So you can see at all this stage, NAO plus, which is westerly winds bringing wind and rain. So if we do run through, we'll go all the way to sort of 9th and 10th of August. You can see all are starting to go for the sort of Scandinavian high model, where we do have high pressure over the top of the country, and most of these ensemble members, you can see the control and operational run are in a minority of only 15%. The rest have high pressure over the top of the UK, turning drier. Winds are in from the east, so it wouldn't be terribly warm along the east coast, and of course it wouldn't be hot because easterlies are not the warmest direction at this time of year. It's still a little bit chilly coming in from the northeast, off the North Sea. But it would be a little bit warmer. As we head towards the 14th of August, running on 4 days, you can see majority of ensemble members do have high pressure over the top of the UK. You can see this one here with 37%. It's got a lot of high pressure around, but there's a potential for a little bit of a cut-off low developing there, which we did see a bit on the GFS. Not particularly made up on this ensemble run. So I do suspect it's a small feature and is potentially as a result of a sort of a plume of hot air coming from the south providing thunderstorms. So it's probably going to come after a bit of a heat wave. You can see 27.5% are going for blocking over the top of the UK with a big anti-cyclone building warm conditions. You see 21% going for a little bit more northerly winds, and then you see another 13% with easterly winds coming off the continent. A bit more of a southeasterly looking like likely on this, so it would be quite pleasant and warming off the continent. So you can see there is around 50% going for quite dry, warm conditions. There are, of course, this minority run here, or 30. It's the majority on this, but it's still not 50%. So it's a bit of a minority overall. Is showing a bit of a cut-off low, but again, I do suspect it will still be warm with the blocking to our east, bringing up southerly winds. As we head all the way to the end of the line, go to the 17th of August, you can see a lot of the ensemble members now do have high pressure over the top of the country. You can see there's northern blocking. We may have a trapped low to our southeast, but again, it could be towards Europe, and Europe we're seeing big thunderstorms, while the UK sees warmer conditions. So that will just depend on the exact position of the low pressure, but it would be a generally quite warm pattern. You can see 27.5% of ensemble members have big high pressure at the top of the UK. Light winds, very warm conditions, similar to what we saw in the middle of July. You get a minority of 11, or 21.6%, going for a bit of low pressure, high pressure split, probably a bit of a northerly wind coming in that. So it would be generally dry for many areas, but it's still a few showers around and cooler conditions. And then you can see 13.7%, or 7 ensemble members with big high pressure just over to the north of Scotland, bringing in easterly winds in off the continent. Probably fairly warm, just depending on the exact location of those easterly winds. But will generally be dry and probably pretty warm. So you can see it is pretty encouraging on the latest ensemble runs. It's not a guarantee we're going to be seeing hot weather, but it is a strong possibility at this stage. If we finally do go through the Met Office, the UKMO Office run, just to have a look at what precipitation we're going to see over the next few days, just give an update so we don't get caught out by any significant storms or showers. So you can see the rain this evening is sort of petering away, and then again, the odd shower overnight coming in off the coast, and then by tomorrow afternoon, another widespread outbreak of showers. Again, potential for a few thunderstorms, and it will just be pot luck where they do take off. Potentially in the Midlands, all the way up to sort of northern Scotland, and then across Ireland as well, really, anywhere in that region. And then by Tuesday night, we do see a weather front starting to come through for Wednesday. Does decay as it comes into the UK, and again, more heavy showers around by Wednesday afternoon, with the potential again of some thunderstorms. And then through Thursday night into Thursday afternoon, we do see weather fronts come in off the Atlantic with potential for some quite persistent rain for many areas, and some windy weather as well with that, before that rain will eventually start to clear by sort of Friday, Saturday. But we're still under the influence of the low pressure, so we're still going to have some areas of rain spiralling around and some heavy, potentially thundery showers through Friday and through Saturday. And even as we head towards Saturday afternoon, still widespread showers in the north as that low is just clearing out into the North Sea. So looking very unsettled in the short term, but we've got hope for the middle of August at this stage, and we'll just have to keep an eye on it over the next few days. I suspect, as I said in yesterday's video, I said maybe 3 or 4 days, and probably now 2 or 3 days until we have a decent idea whether whether we are going to see this anticyclone develop for the middle third of April. But it is looking more encouraging than it did yesterday, and that's all we can really hope for at this stage. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.